I think we sort of take for granted that there's this rite of passage and that it's going to be painful, and it's painful and difficult for almost everybody. Honestly, it kind of sucks for almost everybody. So, I get a lot of inquiries from friends and neighbors who, when their students are, their kids are applying to colleges and trying to decide what kind of colleges they should go to, and there's a lot that we have I think, assumed is just going to be part of the process, that to me, I think needs to be fundamentally disrupted. I mean, I actually argue, I think there's no area of educational policy in more need of fundamental disruption than that transition from high school to college, because I think it's broken. That's a place where we tend to reinforce and exacerbate historical inequities. It's a place that we leave too much talent on the table. I could share just a few, here a few of the kind of data points that I shared with our policymakers and that keep me up at night. That we in Texas now, and just to give you all there are a couple of Texans on here, but for those of you who aren't as familiar with us, so Texas is really vast. I mean, we have more students in higher education than 16 states have people. We have, if we were still our own independent country, we'd be about the 9th largest economy in the world, larger than Russia's economy, by the way, just the state of Texas. We have, but we've been losing ground in that direct enrollment of students from high school to college, even pre-pandemic. So each year we were starting to see a gradual decline. So we had, and then we took a big dip of about 6.5% during the height of the pandemic. So we have about 45% of our students enrolling directly in college after high school. And when you look at the data more deeply, one of the things I was startled to learn is how many students, even from our highest achieving students, don't participate in college. So I started looking in this data because I was worried about how many students go out of state, because New England schools, Mid-Atlantic schools, Midwestern schools, even SEC schools outside of Texas aggressively recruit Texas students. Texas is one of only a couple of states where we're not declining in our high school age population. And I was startled to find out that we have even more students who don't participate at all in higher education. So for example, if you look at African-American students who qualify for automatic admission to our state universities under the top 10% law, we had about 17% of those students not enroll at any college or university in the United States that reports data to the clearinghouse right out of high school. For Hispanic students, it was just above 16%. So that's one the kind of thing that I say is especially, to me, especially damning, that we leave so much talent on the table. Clearly, we need to do a much better job of identifying and engaging talented students early in the pipeline, and removing barriers to students participating in higher education directly out of high school so they can unlock their potential. So this is an area I had the privilege to work on a lot when I was at UT Austin, and I'm convinced that we're not going to address these problems through more high school reform. I think we sort of reached the point where that feels a little bit like pushing a rope. I think the only way that we're going to make significant change at scale is we have to engage much more from the higher education side through meaningful partnerships with high schools. So again, on multiple fronts, I'm inspired by and excited about the work that you all are doing through the Pivotal Network.